boy, oh boy, have I found something special. So I assume you've heard the story of The Witcher, right? A developer that not many people knew of at the time approaches an author looking to strike up a deal to make a game based off their writing, and after a couple of releases, it ends up being one of the most beloved franchises out there that people won't shut up about it. No? Well, I'm sure you remember how immediately after this we got the train wreck known as Cyberpunk, and all the issues that surrounded it. Yes, The Devil's Hunt is basically the same story. It's a little bit different, but instead of copying the good parts, they went straight to the bad parts, just not as extreme. Also, I should mention, I have no opinion on either The Witcher or Cyberpunk. I've played them briefly and I couldn't get into them, so don't start. Now, it's not uncommon for a game to be based off a licensed product. We've seen this multiple times in the past, and it's still a popular business practice to this day. But what's special about Devil's Hunt is not only is it based off of a novel that I bet none of you have ever heard of, but the writer thought this novel was so great and worthy of being adapted into a game that instead of going to a pre-existing company with a lot of experience, like most sane people would do, the mad lad just went and founded his own fucking company, hired some staff and got to work. And all I have to say to that is the most impressive way to stroke your own ego. So I hope it was worth it. As for the novel itself, I could barely find anything out about it. All I can tell you is that the game is based off the first book of a trilogy called Equilibrium, and from the reviews on Goodreads, it came across okay? I would have looked into reading the book myself to make comparisons throughout the video, but I will admit I barely read. The only reason I know of this game is because a while back I saw gameplay of it before it launched and I thought, wow, this heavily looks inspired by Devil May Cry. Look, you've got the demons, the leather jacket, the weird arm thing, but I don't know, it looks like it could be fun. I'll keep an eye on it for sure, and then I forgot about it for 2 years. Yeah, so this game came out in 2019, and then I bought the game last year when it was on sale and just forgot to play it, which is surprising because other than moving house, I haven't really done much due to being stuck at home like everyone else. But given that it's the month of spooky horror things, and that I was distracted by Back 4 Blood releasing and not realising it was Halloween coming up, I thought it'd be a good idea to finally play it. And after beating it, I'm sorry, I don't get it. I don't see what the author saw in this novel because the story in Devil's Hunt is an absolute mess. To me, this is a game that is trying to be Devil May Cry but somehow feels shallow in every single aspect. In fact, at points I can't tell whether I'm meant to take this game's story seriously or not. In Devil's Hunt, you play as a guy called Desmond, a man that just so happens to be having the most unfortunate day I've ever seen. Seriously, this is a fucking roller coaster. So the game will pan down immediately from when you hit the new game button, which I might add is a nice touch. You venture around for a bit, beat up some demons, and then realise that it was all a dream and that you're going to be late for work. So you get up, grab your phone and an engagement ring, head to work, go to a meeting with the CEO of the company who later turns out to be Desmond's dad, and upon entering the office, you're immediately scolded for something and being late. They never really tell you what you did to fuck up, but apparently it cost the company a lot of money. But whatever it was, this does result with you punching an elevator.
My fault? Sure, yeah, okay, asshole. Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, that just sort of happens. You then get approached by some guy called Embry who turns out to be your friend, but also a coach for some underground fight club. After asking if you're ready for the next fight, he'll randomly ask if Desmond's girlfriend is going to be there before leaving, which, I mean, in retrospect is a little odd. After this riveting encounter, however, Desmond meets his girlfriend, takes her back home, and proposes to her, and from the bewildered look on her face, I believe she says yes?
Kristen, will you marry me?
Wait, she didn't even say anything, what the fuck? The next day, Desmond heads to the fight club and for some reason his dad's there. No idea why, but after that, you proceed to get your ass handed to you, and upon waking up, Desmond's dad is there to not, make sure he's okay, but instead disown him.
Will you ever be anything other than a burden? First, I'm cleaning up the mess you made of my company, and now you're getting your ass handed to you in front of all my friends and colleagues. The only good is your mother didn't live long enough to witness this failure.
Sir, please step aside so I can do my job. You can talk to the patient when I'm finished with him.
There's nothing left to talk about.
You're going to be all right. Ice it and keep it clean. Dizziness should wear off soon. was that prick?
That was my father.
Oh, by the way, later on, it turns out that Desmond's dad has a thing for his son's fiancée, and even attempts to make a move on her, and they never really address it. Ever. Father of the Year material right here. Once Desmond has been checked over, he returns home and walks in on his fiancée cheating on him with his friend Embry. Desmond, as you can imagine, rightfully gets pissed, chases Embry out of the house to get knocked out again, and then chases after him in the car. But if you thought this is where the gameplay would kick back in with a car chase scene mission, oh, you'd be wrong, because this just keeps going and gets even better. While in the car, Desmond starts hearing voices of everything that just happened, and in the heat of the moment just decides, fuck it, and just drives off the side of the road and kills himself.
The only good is your mother didn't live long enough to witness this failure.
And honest to God, I wish it ended there, but it just keeps going. It turns out that Desmond somehow survived driving off the edge of the bridge at high speed and being locked in a car, and he somehow escaped the sinking vehicle and then wakes up on the shore, and then proceeds to walk around a bit, meets some random guy who punches the floor, and now you're in hell, where you make a deal with the devil to come back to Earth to kill your friend and become an executioner. But before that deal is made, your game is going to crash because there is a bug in a cutscene.
Hey! Leave that something alone!
So, in the span of 20 minutes, our main protagonist here gets disowned by his dad, punches an elevator, gets the shit beaten out of him twice, finds out his fiancée of one day is cheating on him, and then he just kills himself just to make a deal with the devil to come back to life. And the best part of all of this is you get an achievement for killing yourself. It honestly feels like I've just watched an entire sitcom at 10 times the normal speed and my brain has melted because of it. And then after that, nothing noteworthy really happens for a while until the end of the game. You go hunt down a few people, stalk your fiancé who's grieving because you got gamer score, you get killed by an angel at one point, do some stuff in hell before stalking your fiancé again, and then the story finally picks up again when you make your way to the angel's headquarters near the end of the game. And I would, normally say, oh, there's spoilers coming up, but frankly, this story is dogshit. It turns out that your friend is still alive and explains that he never planned to fuck your fiancée. It was actually the devil was playing a long game to trick you into killing yourself so you can become their puppet. As it turns out, Desmond is one of the only people who can stop a war between heaven and hell. And instead of helping the angels, he decides to help Neva and go find some guy called Muriel. And then the game ends. Okay, that's not entirely true. While the game does in fact end with you going to look for Muriel, there's still a little bit more to the game, which involves you looking for Muriel's blood so you can track him down, and also killing the executioner who's been a dick to you the entire game. But honestly, after the twist of Embry still being alive after you kill him, I just stopped paying attention. For a game based off a novel, this story sucks. It's poorly paced, with fuck all happening in the middle of the game, and a lot of levels feel more like a chore to play, especially after having to deal with various bugs, crashes, and an overall mediocre effort. Like, look at the animations for the NPCs for example, they are terrible. At times the NPCs will have little to no animations to them, you can't interact with them, they don't acknowledge you, and they don't even have basic dialogue for the background. They just stand there looking lifeless. One of them has transparent eyes for some reason, and then there's one guy who just stands there like he's itching for a fight or he just shit himself. And then when we do get voice acting, it isn't much better.
Stop it. I said, stop it.
Who the fuck are you and why did you get in the way?
I am an angel, and, well, I am an angel.
Devil's Hunt reminds me of the older games where voice acting was always kind of mediocre and cheesy at best due to poor direction. However, with those games, the gameplay made up for it. Devil's Hunt, however, it doesn't achieve this. So Devil's Hunt is basically a beat 'em up. Outside of travelling from point A to point B, you're either beating stuff up, unlocking doors by punching things, or inspecting things like it's fucking LA Noire. There is no reason to inspect items in this game besides unlocking one of the 3 hidden abilities you'll find in Hell. Everything else you pick up in game, Desmond just looks at it and then half the time doesn't even say anything to acknowledge it. Like, there are games which do this and some do it a lot better. When my friend sent me footage for LA Noire, he also sent me footage for Miles Morales in comparison. In that game, when you inspect something, it has reason behind it. He mentions something about his past or his family. In Devil's Hunt, Desmond just goes, well, that's fucking weird. It's a drawing. And then I realised later on in the game that you look at these to get concept art in the main menu. Why it's not just a collectible you pick up and carry on with the game, I have no idea. But it's primarily a beat 'em up, so with the combat in Devil's Hunt, it's unfortunately rather basic. You can punch, and you can punch. Both do the same thing, one's just a heavy attack, one's just a light attack. The real meat to the combat, I guess, is the abilities you unlock throughout the game. When killing enemies, you get their souls, and these can be used in the upgrade menu to buff Desmond and also give him special attacks that are categorized in 3 types. I think they're meant to represent good, evil and neutral, but all I see is colors, and that feels like a lot easier to explain. The best comparison I can make to this is the style system Dante has in Devil May Cry, except really half-assed. Some abilities are flat out useless and others are okay, I guess. I used them on bosses, but besides that I never really had to use them. Also, there's a full demon mode. I barely touched that. I think I had to use it for 1 boss and I had no choice. It's also a shame that you look stupid in it. Yeah, if you can't tell, the combat did not get much attention from me, not because it's optional. No, this is pretty much a mandatory combat system, but after a couple of levels you unlock the blue variant of attacks and you unlock this ability called Soul Suck, and this thing is busted. You go up to an enemy, hold down the left trigger, and that's it, you win, they're dead. This works on almost every single enemy in the game, albeit the move can be cancelled if they hit you, but another blue ability lets you trap people in place so you can just go and suck them one by one. And I know what you're thinking. Ben, you're just choosing to play like this to be pedantic. I don't believe you really played the entire game like this. No, I did. I played the entire game this way once I unlocked it. Seriously, someone has said something similar to that to me before about a shit game and it still cracks me up. But seriously, if you're going to make a beat 'em up, at least add something to push the player towards experimenting with other attacks. A simple combo meter, similar to Devil May Cry, would have made this way more engaging. You could have even made a ranking system from each battle to give you bonus souls. Just something to keep me changing up how I do things. If you're going to give me a stupid ability like sucking the life out of someone and not give it a cooldown, then yeah, I'm gonna abuse it. Plus, would it kill you to make enemies have more variety? It felt so bland. It doesn't really change all that much. Sure, you get the odd boss here and there, but there's nothing to write home about. However, there is one boss in this game that I keep remembering because it stands out above the rest for being the fucking worst thing in existence, and that is the big angel on the rooftop. This boss fight infuriated me for various reasons. Firstly, the game decides to throw a random curveball at you with no warning. So earlier in the game, when you unlock the green attack style, you're told this is the only way to kill angels, which is bullshit because I sucked 20 angels dry earlier. Could have phrased that better. So if that's true, why didn't you stop me from using other attack styles in the level? Or, you know, try and explain it in a cutscene? The game just decides instead that during the boss fight, we're going to go and disable both red and blue attack styles, and you have no heads up for this. You only find out in the boss. And if you're like me and thought that upgrading a new skill tree this late into the game seemed like a waste of time, then yeah, you probably didn't upgrade anything at all in green. Which is fucking great because I'll let you in on a little secret. You can refund skills in this game and no one tells you this, and I only realised after dying a couple of times because I accidentally clicked something. I want to believe a developer who worked on this game must have realised that this was a stupid idea for a boss fight and that you'd only get a couple of levels into the skill tree after unlocking it, so whoever made the choice to let you refund skills is a fucking genius, and I thank you for making the boss a bit more bearable. But then I have to retract that because the game has now decided that you can only defeat this boss if you turn into a demon. If you lower his health too much as a human, he just heals. Oh, and then the game crashed like 8 to 10 times during this boss. I honestly lost track, but I do know it crashed twice on the end cutscene after I'd beaten him, which was great because I didn't get a save point, it just threw me back to the start. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded the boss as much since I can just spam range attacks, but the fact that there is fuck all music to this boss fight is a big problem this game has. The soundtrack in this game sucks. It barely exists, it either has a loop of the same song or it's just nothing. This is terrible. Music in a game like this is quite important as it can help set the mood and also give the player adrenaline. Look at No Straight Roads for example. The combat in that game is basic, but the music is outstanding and I love this game to bits. Devil's Hunt however could have had a bit of a more redeemable combat system if it had good music to go with it. Look, I'll give you an example.
There's a limit to how high you can go.
With your soul, I can break it.
Look, Devil's Hunt is okay. I've played worse. I'd normally say here that I had fun with the game, but I feel like the most fun I got out of this game was just laughing at how bad the game tries to take itself seriously. But with the technical issues, the overall story, it's not really anything special. Sure, in short bursts I did see myself having a little bit of fun with it, but it wasn't often. Devil's Hunt is just a shallow game that attempts to ride off the excitement of Devil May Cry, and I would try to recommend this game, but I find it incredibly hard because there's other titles out there that do a better job, like the new Guardians of the Galaxy game. Compared to the Avengers, it's actually pretty good, which I'm honestly surprised by. But I guess if you really wanted to play something that's short and might give you a brief chuckle at times in like the span of 5 to 6 hours and, you know, several crashes, then yeah, Devil's Hunt might be worth giving a go if you can find it for like £5. It's really a shame because I was looking through the concept art after beating the game and some of this stuff actually looks really cool. My guess is it was just another story of a creator getting overly ambitious for a project way too big for their team, and they were definitely ambitious with Devil's Hunt because when they finish the game they leave it on a cliffhanger of sorts, so they're obviously hoping to make a sequel. And who knows, maybe the second run of Devil's Hunt will learn from the mistakes of the original and they'll make a better game. Oh dear. Maybe you could take a note from your book as well and make a deal with the devil to pay your fucking staff.